I need to know everything. Who in the world and where I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but I like it's real what you're telling me. I'm curious.
Hello, everyone. It's time for the Startups on the Block. So glad to have you here this evening. We're all excited. We just got through with an hour of networking, and we got some special guests lined up for tonight, and we're definitely excited about it. You will learn a lot tonight, I guarantee you. First up, we have Vinko, and come on up, Vinko. Turn your camera and your mic on, and let's get this show on the road. And we're excited to have you here. And,
thank you.
So Startup on the Blocks is all about connecting with other founders and connecting with other resources to kind of help you grow your startup. And so through our networking, we actually met Vinko a couple of weeks ago or so, and he's now on as a guest, and so we're looking forward to partnering with him. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got on your startup journey and what your products and services are.
Sure. Thank you, Lloyd. Thank you for having me. It's truly a pleasure to be here. So regarding myself, I spent 2 decades in technology, building technology, software technologies, and in particular, I spent most of my career in my early days, I was just participating in other startups and learning how is that done. And then at some point, I decided, to take it off with my partners, my team, and start working on startups ourselves. This is our second startup that is taking the ground.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, we made the exit like 4 years ago. It was not a big exit, but exit, enough to keep us, focused and take what we learned and move on. So last year we started to work on an idea about, or the question why we as a software developers, in particular SaaS developers, are developing this, same set of common features in the SaaS applications over and over again from scratch. There are some products out there that are helping, like with there are some products helping with authentication. There are a lot of like backend services helping you with the backend, but very few, or we so far found only one, at least similar, not quite as similar to what we do, is to give you end-to-end user flows that you can plug into your SaaS product and have it ready for production in a matter of days, rather than spending weeks on building such a components.
Well, some people in our audience on Vinko may not be familiar with the term SaaS, so would you kind of explain what that
Sure.
actually means? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So SaaS stands for Software as a Service. It's it doesn't tell much more if you're not familiar, but let me tell you that is essentially many applications that you use on the web, on your browser, from your email client that you use to send emails if you use a browser client, from like this Hoppin.com. This is a SaaS. So any service that you use through the internet is essentially software as a service. And each of these softwares has these common components. You have to log in. You have to have your user account. They have to be sending you emails. They have to charge you for something. They have to limit you access to certain parts. And all of this, us developers currently are developing from the scratch. Each time when the product or manager ask us to do it, then we design the system and build it like this is the only one that ever existed.
Yes, and so you're basically saying, as a software developer, you have to do this over and over again. So what you're saying is, why not put a product out there that so it can save time, and so
Yes.
So new startups don't really have to reinvent the wheel on that.
Yes, that is exactly, and we are what's the saying, sailing the tide. There are already some other efforts in this industry, like just this week there's a provider called Auth0. They're focused on authentication and authorization.
Yeah. Okay.
They just got acquired. They're similar. They're doing similar. It just their focus is only on this authentication part.
Yes.
So, and they were our inspiration. We used like Auth0 is on the market for more than a decade now, and we use a number of products, and then we say, what if we can expand this to other components of this?
Yeah, that sounds like a fantastic idea. Me as a startup, it's nice to be able to save time and effort. And one of the things that motivated me to reach out to you when I saw you had signed up for one of our events was, I said, well, we're building for our nonprofit. We're building this AI data center, and so we have some proprietary software that we have on, and so we want to build some user interfaces to allow non-coders to use this AI software and develop artificial neural networks based on some data that they have. And one of the components we will need is the subscription page, the authentication page, and I'm anxious to see what are the other things you need. But so to not to have to spend a whole lot of time developing that, and to be able to hook something in. So how does a startup founder actually would use your software? Could you kind of walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So there, so I'll describe you now what our vision is. We started just like last year, and we went live last month with the first customer. We are working with the next one, but I'll tell you first what is the vision, and then I tell you.
Good. But I think that's important that you explain the way. But what a lot of folks in audience, what we want them to know is that when you're in the startup world, you always talk about what your vision is of what the product will do once it's completed, and so that's real important, because that's what the investors are looking for. What is your vision of the product? And then you can get the help you need to get you through those stages to get there, and that's what the startup ecosystem is all about, to help you, fulfill your vision.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So the vision is, for anyone technical here, or maybe non-technical, there
Yeah.
are tools. There are tools like Webflow, Wix, Squarespace. These tools are designed for non-coders, non-web designers,
Yes.
small business owners or business owner in general, to create and host their websites.
Yes.
And they use this tool that is called Web Designer.
Yes.
So essentially, you can drag and drop components on the screen, and that is the way you design your website.
Yes.
And when you're done, when you're happy how it looks like, all the nice images and all the nice forms you put in, you click publish, and then your website is live, and
Yeah.
everybody can see. So this is kind of the base idea that we are
Yeah.
taking this builder approach, where
Yes.
you say, okay, I need this SaaS component, and then I need this SaaS component, and then I want my subscription do like this. When user register them, I want them to send this kind of email. So you are using these tools to configure all of this.
Yes.
And once you're done, you're like, when you click publish, then actually you get a software library now, because this is a tool for full stack developers. This is for people really doing like full stack development.
Okay.
So they library, they get the library, and they put that library in the code, and they just execute one line in their code, and all these designs that they designed come to life, and their users can use it.
Yeah, that reminds me of one of our speakers coming up after you, Sean. When back in 2012, 2013, we were developing a mobile application, and so Sean was doing the development for me, and he didn't actually know how to do mobile development. He knew how to code, but he knows now. And but anyway, one of the things he had to do was, we had to decide on a back end, and so we that back end had all the user authentication stuff. It had, it was wonderful. The company still exists today. And so, but yeah, so that, I'm glad you clarified that. But so what you're saying is, if a developer uses your part of your back end services, it can speed up a lot of the efforts that's actually going on there. Yeah, I'm glad we had a chance to talk about that, because I didn't totally understand your approach there. But it's so I guess one of the questions I would have, so I think I get it. And so it could be a web application, but I guess it also could be a mobile application as well, I'm guessing, right?
That is a further vision. When you're talking about investors, you have to really paint a big picture. How this can grow in all the directions. So yes, so we are focusing on the SaaS and web now, just because it is a simpler technology to develop and to be. Mobile is it takes more resources to develop.
Okay, good. So when I'm looking at the Hoffman screen right now, and in the backstage here, I see the app.hopin and then all the other stuff. So when I see a web application, it's basically, is that app thing, is that just there to be there, but is that kind of to denote that it's an application, a web application?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's that's pretty neat. So so you're saying you're just getting started out. So we want to be one of your early clients with our nonprofit here. And you also mentioned that you also are working with other accelerator programs to kind of leverage you all's tools.
Yes, yes. So that is very important for a startup like our, to leverage that, I would say, and connections and knowledge and support, and journeys like this are usually, very long and very hard, and
Yeah.
and you want any support that you can get. So we are currently not in a accelerator. We are part of some, like, startup hubs, where
Yeah. Yeah. So,
you
yeah.
can connect easier with others and things like that. We are currently looking actively for a program to join, and
Yes.
it's a research to do, because you have
Yeah,
to.
yeah. I got you. So I think I understand better what you're doing now, and so I can probably, share some ideas on that. But what I kind of meant about, like, so we have like a pre-accelerator
Oh,
here. Yeah,
participate.
yeah,
Yes,
and we have a like I was saying, that AI data center project,
yeah.
and yeah, and so, like, but what my point is some of our founders that participate in our pre-accelerator program or our data center, they can potentially leverage,
Yeah,
get some of your services at a lower cost or no cost initially, some credits to kind of
yeah,
move forward. Yeah. So
yes,
yeah,
yes.
that's what and so we're definitely want to, we're going to, you and I are going to meet tomorrow, and we're going to try to go ahead and iron some of that stuff out. But I think it's perfect, because the less work a developer has to do to implement something, I think that's a really, really, really nice approach to go. So,
Yeah.
like, so how did you come across Startup on the Blocks? How did you find us?
So, yeah, it was actually through hopping.com.
Yeah,
I'm a member there maybe for a couple of months, and then there is a events part,
yeah,
open part of your account, so you can search for events. So
yeah,
I was looking for ones particularly focused on startups.
yeah,
Uh, that's how I joined.
yeah. And so, have you been able to meet a few people since you've been participating?
Oh yeah, yes, it was great. Quite a few connections and follow-up meetings, and yes, this been really, I would say, small but tight
Yeah, yeah.
community.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
and so, and we're I think once more people understand that you literally can network one on one and meet people, I think more people are going to start
yes.
participating and to see. And so, did you hear the announcement today about Hopin?
Uh, no, what?
No, you did. They just raised another $400 million.
Actually, you told me earlier today. Yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's pretty amazing. That's a scalable product, right?
yes. These platforms are hot now. At these times. Yeah, yeah. It's we didn't have platforms like this a year ago.
Yeah.
That's
But yeah, but one of the things that allowed them to scale so fast is based on, the software as a service and the ability for people to sign up, and through a totally automated process. I signed up about a year ago to go to an event, and I had no idea what it was, but when I registered for my first event, the thing popped up and said there's another event going on. So I clicked on that event, and listen to some speakers from Google, et cetera. And then, when they did the networking, I clicked on the networking thing, and it blew me away. I met 4 people in a matter of a few minutes that, I said, this is fantastic. So I signed up immediately.
yes, yes.
Yeah, so that's fantastic. So we're definitely glad you could join us, and we really appreciate it. I look forward to chatting with you tomorrow. Does anybody in the audience have any questions from Vinko? I almost forgot.
I actually do.
Okay, go ahead, Sean.
So one of my questions was, do you focus mainly on providing back-end solutions or front-end solutions, or both?
Both. So that.
Wow.
And
Okay.
maybe we should explain what that means, because I'm a technical person and you're a technical person, but other people might not understand what front-end means and back-end means.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So the front end is like all the components that we see in our browser, like visually see, and how they behave when they click. So that is what we call the front end. But in order for this to work, we need a backend. We need some cloud services that store the data and then this data. So that is why when you're logging back to your account on the browser, the service knows about you. They know what you did last time and all these things. So that all lives in the cloud, in the data, and that is what we call the backend. And the code has to live in the backend to process all the data, same as the code has to live in your browser to give you the user experience.
Yeah, Sean, you can turn your camera on too since you're coming up next. Yeah, so I don't actually see any other questions. So Sean, that was definitely a good question. So does anybody else have any questions? You can post them in the stage chat or the event chat, and we're looking to see if you have any questions. And I'm not looking on Facebook, so if Lord Junior, if you see anybody on Facebook that's got a question, let me know. Yeah. So any parting words on Vinko before you go? I'm just excited to connect with you, and hopefully we can have a really great partnership to kind of help our folks out here in Northwest Florida move forward.
Yes, me looking forward, and maybe once I get down to the Pensacola and
okay, fantastic. Yeah, and so you're up in Maine, but so yeah, we don't get up that way too often. So maybe and I see you got some guitars there in the back. So are you a musician as well?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, thanks a million. We really enjoyed having you.
Thank you.
All right, bye. All right, Sean, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
All righty.
Good to be back.
So, yeah, glad to have you back. And at least you're not in your truck this time with the sun going down.
Yeah, I try to make the lighting a little bit better this time, so hopefully it goes a little smoother.
Yeah. So so for the audience, Sean and I know each other really well. We've been working together since like 2012 when he was still in college. Pretty green, pretty rough around the edges.
Yeah, I come a long way. It's amazing how far we've come. We've both come.
Yeah, and Sean and I was talking with his partner a couple of weeks ago or so, and it just reminded me all the stories and all the things we went through, on the startup journey. Because I think you've been there from day one since I've been on all these startup journeys, and I just laugh every time I think about our first couple of events and how we run them, and
it was exciting.
It was hilarious how bad we did, but we still stuck.
Learning experience though, got us to where we are today, so can't complain.
Yeah, that's right. So why don't you introduce yourself to us and tell?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So my name's Sean Hoffman. I run a development company where we specialize in standing up developer teams to provide software solutions. We provide the full gambit. So we start all the way with just doing specifications, and we do mock-ups, and we do design specs and documentation. Then we set up a development team. We start building the product. Then we work on testing and QA, and we also do deployment and getting the product out there. And then we also follow up with maintenance. So we offer a full range of software development services from start to finish. We also do offer some hardware stuff as well. My business partner is actually specialized in engineering. So a couple of the projects that we've actually done, we've been consultant on their hardware and helped them build some of it too. So in a nutshell, that's kind of what I specialize in.
Yes. And so and I want to thank you publicly for volunteering to help out on our AI data center project so we can actually bring those get it to the point where folks that don't know how to code can actually use some AI too. That's going to be really powerful once we get that up and
I'm really excited to see where that goes, and I'm really excited to see what connections we can do and how we can get things moving on that.
So we appreciate you volunteering to help out on that. And also, your company, is partnering with the nonprofit as well to support, our founders and and helping them kind of move forward. We really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so tonight, the theme is low code, no code, and so like Vinko, when he was on a minute ago, so like you as a developer, so what do you think? Because I remember back when we were using Kinvi as a back end, they had a lot of stuff built in.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about the service he's doing from yeah.
Well, it sounds like he's trying to do something much more than Kinvi, which is really cool. Kinvi they only did the back end side. They didn't.
Yeah.
They actually did provide a couple of screens that you could copy and paste, but that wasn't their main service. So yeah, it seems like Vinko definitely has a really neat idea, and I'm actually planning on meeting with him on Monday, I believe, is when our meeting is. So me and my business partner are going to meet with him. So that's going to be cool to see where that goes. But yeah, I think it's a neat idea, and I think the no code solutions for startups are so critical. So it's kind of funny, even me as a developer, and I run a software development company, we can't afford to develop all the software we need internally. So we had to come up with solutions that were either no code or very low code solutions to a lot of the problems that we were having. And we actually discovered some really cool tools and some neat things. So I think that's kind of the next thing we're going to talk about here. So
yeah, go right ahead and take it
cool.
away.
Well, I'll tell you. So there's kind of two sides to this coin here, and so I want to make sure that it's clear that everyone kind of understands the two different perspectives. But one is like, okay, well, how can I build like a prototype to solve a problem based on like a no code or low code solution? That's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin, though, that I think gets ignored a lot, and people just don't realize it exists until it becomes a problem, is the idea of having their infrastructure and stuff. So one of the things about running a startup that you figure out very early on is that it's tough to run a business, and there's a lot of solutions out there where you can pay for, things like application tracking management, inventory management, like accounting management, paying people, and things like that. There's a lot of tools out there. But the question is, though, as a startup, how can we, get things that solve those problems in a very cost efficient and a no code or a low code way? And one of the solutions that I actually found that we decided to use, me and my business partner use extensively, is called Airtable. And I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with that. There's also a bunch of other ones that are similar to that out there. I don't remember the main competitors' names. But there's I know Microsoft is developing one. There's another one out there that's a main one that I know Nathalie Reshard uses all the time. I don't know the name of it right off the top of my head, though. But yeah, so there's a lot of different solutions out there. But the idea behind Airtable is basically it's a spreadsheet online that can do some really, really cool, complicated things. And so one of the things that I want to talk about in this meeting is what are some common things that you can do to help your business with a solution like Airtable. And I actually wanted to show it off too, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, so you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about here. So, and again, this is the second side of the coin. So the first side of the coin, I was talking about how to prototype out ideas. You can kind of take these concepts that I'm about to show you and apply these to your startups to give you guys ideas on how to do things. But for us as a software development company, we had a lot of problems with how do we manage like our clients, how do we manage our employees, how do we manage our hiring processes. And we did a ton of research on software solutions out there, and none of them fit the bill. We ran into Airtable, and we just loved it from the very beginning. So here's all of our apps, if you will. These are all of our solutions that we have, and we have quite a few. Like there's tons of them. Like we use this for everything. It runs our entire company. But I just wanted to give you guys some examples of some things that you can do with Airtable and give you guys an idea of how it can work. So I'm going to start with the Technica employee directory. So this is basically like this is all of our employees that we have hired currently in our company. And it lists everything about the employees. And I'm going to change my view here real quick to, hold on real quick, to headshots. So this is basically like a table or a spreadsheet that we use that has every single piece of information about every single employee that we currently have hired. Now, there's some really cool things you can do with Airtable. As you can see, we have different views to consume this data. So this is one of our main views here where it kind of shows a picture, it shows a title, it shows where they're located at, and it shows a name. So this kind of gives you a really cool kind of brief overview of our company and what we do. But there's also a bunch of other views that you can do. Like we can have a view that tells us every salary of everybody. We have views that tell us what their information is, how do they get paid, things like that. So there's a lot of different things, whether they've signed documents or not, whether they signed NDAs, whether they're W-2, whether they're 1099, and all that stuff is all in Airtable. So it's a really comprehensive solution to a lot of different things. And this is just one of them. So Technica employees and project directories. This is actually really, really cool. It's extremely powerful. Some other really cool things you can do with Airtable. One in particular that I really love is actually called our application tracking software. So ATS, Technica ATS. This actually helps us track who's applying for jobs, what website they're applying from, their information, how to get in contact with them, and what status they are in their current application. This is extremely flexible, and there's some really, really cool things you can do with this. So for example, we actually have it set up right now in Airtable where we actually automate sending emails out to people depending on whether we need to set up a first interview, a second interview, whether it's a non-tech interview or a technical interview, whether we rejected them, whether we added them to the talent pool and rejected them, and a bunch of other things. So there's tons of flexibility on adding basically code to this without actually writing a single line of code. So it's really cool. So for example, if I have this applicant right here, I can actually tell them, I can set the status here to set up second interview. And it will automatically send a pre-built interview or interview email to them with a link to my profile and a link to set up time, as well as it fills in all of her information correctly and sets all that up. And then as I'm doing the interview, I can pull up their resume directly right here. So the resume is directly attached to it. So I can pull this up and look at cover letters, look at, their resume and what they're experienced on. I can take notes on like phone number, where they're located. I can also, see their salary expectations, how much they're planning on getting paid, what skills they have. And I can put all this information, keep track of when I interviewed them, what notes they had. So like I have all these notes on here. So it's extremely flexible. So it's not just a spreadsheet. It's almost a comprehensive solution for a lot of different scenarios. So that was kind of like a brief overview of kind of the infrastructure side of things. And believe me, I could talk for 3 hours about this. So I'm not going to blab on forever here. But that kind of gives you an idea of where you can go with infrastructure and things like that. But the other side of the coin, which I do want to speak on, even though I didn't show an example here, is the idea of prototyping out software. I get tons of people that come to me all the time and say, man, it'd be cool if I could track inventory and do this and do that and do this. And the first thing that pops in my head, and I know I'm a software company, I shouldn't be saying this, is, wow, you could do all that in Airtable and it'd be really easy to do. So Airtable can actually be quite useful for taking ideas that you might have and putting something on paper that allows you to kind of see if that idea is going to work out or if it's going to flesh out, and do it in a way where you literally just you need to know how to use Excel. And that's not a very high branch, that's not a very high skill set. So it's really easy to be able to do that. And then as you develop it and get things more complicated, Airtable actually allows you to write code, and you can actually do integrations directly in Airtable. So I actually have a couple of Airtables that I've done where I wrote code where I'm actually pulling API and information and all this stuff from other websites and then using it in Airtable. So it's very, very flexible. So now that I completely talked down why you should even use development services by using Airtable. But I'll tell you, though, it's a great way to get started if you don't have the funds to do true development. And then it can give you an idea of what software you want to build in the future. So then once you have a good idea of what you need and what your requirements are, then it can allow you to, actually hire a development company like me to come in and build a more comprehensive, solution that solves exactly your problem. So
Yeah, that
was a little long-winded,
oh
but
no, that was fantastic.
a lot of information, but
yeah. What I just realized too is it's like when you could actually prototype your application and onboard a few users with some of these low code, no code solutions. But I think you as a developer could actually see the flow of the application, and then when you get ready to when the founder gets ready to scale that out to a lot of users, and then they could you as a developer can see how actually understand what they really need.
Yeah, one of our ideas with my business partner Frank, one of our ideas was actually to use Airtable to help people understand what they're trying to build.
Yes.
So you can actually use Airtable to kind of get a general idea of how something would work.
Yes.
And we got a bunch of internal projects that we want to do that we've actually put into Airtable to kind of flesh out the idea and make sure that it's going to work before we devote any coders to it.
Yeah.
So it's a really powerful tool. And like I said, Airtable is not the only solution. There's a bunch of other ones out there as well. So don't feel like you're stuck on Airtable or anything.
And believe it or not, there's a whole community of low code, no code. I didn't even realize this. So there's this whole network of people that live and die this low code, no code thing. And like you said, Microsoft and other companies are embracing this as well.
Yeah.
But I think you're the first person, and I've seen people using it quite a bit for forums lately. I mean, I just seen that like it blow up. People are using it for forums as opposed to using Google Forms, and so that's. But I hadn't really seen anybody using it for the back office like you're doing, and so so that's really neat.
So far we're really happy with it. And like I said, we did a ton of research on back office type applications and stuff like that. And there's 1,010,000 of them out there.
Yes.
But Airtable, I mean, we pay $20 a month for it, and we get unlimited apps. We can make as many as we want. It includes integrations and everything. It includes code and everything in the cost. So it's not crazy cheap, because it's per user. I think it was like $20 per user, so it's pretty expensive. But I mean, it's just for us, it's just worth it. It literally solves the problem of like 10 different back office things all in one solution, and then we can customize it however we want. And as we use the process, we just add more features in, and we just like every time we hire a new round of people, we're adding new fields and we're adding new things, to it. We're adding new functionality, so it just gets better and better.
Yeah. So do they have like templates to start off with, or do you start from scratch?
Yeah, there's tons of templates and everything like that. And anywhere from just like really simple things all the way to super complicated things. I mean, I track all my recipes in Airtable now. So whenever I make a recipe, I put in the ingredients. I put in how much it weighs, how much I need to make. And then if I want to make 3 batches, I just click a button and it tells me how much ingredients I need to make 3 batches.
Well,
so it's super flexible. I mean, there's a lot you can do with it.
So you just gave me an idea. So like you could actually use that Airtable to keep, like you said, recipes. But let's say you do a certain thing to onboard, people or clients and our personnel, and you got all this data. But if you're keeping track of all this data on each person you onboard or each customer you onboard, you actually can build a model of the of the results. But like on your recipe thing, you would have to also put in your recipes like how well you like that recipe, or and like that, and then you can actually use some AI, build some artificial neural networks to model that stuff and model your
and then we could build an Airtable plugin that literally can pull the AI. I mean, the Airtable is so crazy flexible. It's actually pretty insane. There's a good reason why it's so popular now. Because it's so big.
Yeah. So
and like I said, I only showed you guys a very, very small portion of all the backend stuff that we use for infrastructure. I mean, We use our CRM for it, our customer relations management. We use it for, tracking projects. We use it for doing estimates. Oh my God, estimates are huge. All of our estimates are done in Airtable.
Wow. Okay.
So that's how we, I bid on, $100,000 contracts and stuff based on estimates that I build in Airtable on a daily basis. So it's really powerful. It's quite huge, and we love it. We love it. We can filter on anything we want. We can sort it on anything we want. We can have all kinds of really complicated things in it, or we can make it really simple. And then we literally click a button and it's exported to a PDF, and we can email it to the customer, and it looks professional. It looks like we had this really amazing software that did all this. So let's bring Nathalie on so you can say hi to her. But any parting words before you sign off, Sean? No, I'm good. I don't know if anyone has any questions or anything like that. I don't know. Yeah, that's there. Like any questions? I'd imagine there's gonna be a million questions, so we may not even be able to get through all of them. Okay. Yeah. Like any questions, Nathalie? You got any questions for Sean?
Yeah, is there actually a limit to the data stored? What's the data limits in Airtable?
There's not. It's so crazy. It's like $22 a month per person, and you can have unlimited apps. And I haven't noticed any data limits to it yet. I'm sure that there is. I can't imagine that you can just upload 700 terabytes to it. But it's really flexible though, and we haven't had any problems with how many records there are. I mean, our applicant tracking software now has 500 or 600 records in it, and we haven't had any problems. And we literally have multiple resumes attached to each person, so and haven't had any issues with it. But like I said, I'm sure there is a limit somewhere. But yeah, okay, that's really great, Sean. I definitely learned a lot from your conversation here, and I'm definitely excited about the possibilities for back office stuff, because that's really a big issue for a lot of stuff. And it's something that's overlooked big time. People don't even think about it until it becomes such a nightmare of a problem that they don't even want to look at it anymore. It's like, no, I'm just going to ignore it. And it's like, no, you can't. It's like when we started this company, I'll tell you that we've been fighting back office stuff now for a year and a half. And we just now got it to the point where it's manageable. It's not solved, but it's manageable, so it's definitely something that's huge. And if you don't have the right process in place, it can really shoot you in the foot and cost you a lot of money in the future, No, Lloyd, we love you. Don't leave.
You just solid.
All right, Nathalie, it looks like me and you're going to have to entertain until he comes back.
You froze for a second there,
I think he's still frozen. Is he back now?
Go ahead.
All right, I think you're back now. We lost you there, Lloyd, for a little while.
I got you. Yes. But thanks a lot, everybody coming to help me out. That's our technology for us. So we got a lot of help here. So Sean, we appreciate that. And Lloyd Jr., we appreciate you coming on to kind of back up too. All right. Yeah. So Nathalie, let's get the show on the road with you. Let's get your mic back on and let's go here.
Sure. Good evening.
Yeah. So yes, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I am Nathalie Reshard, the daughter of Lloyd Reshard. I am originally from Florida. Y'all know these things. Let me fast forward to why I'm here tonight. I'm here tonight because I've joined in the Startup on the Blocks Accelerator with several of you to start a business. So we had an idea. I was talking with my father a couple of weeks ago. We had an idea, and I've joined in. So part of the Startup on the Blocks is the resources that are out there. My father's done a great job of connecting us to resources. And so I joined in on startup.com or startupschool.com. And they have a whole program that it's literally set up, the curriculum set up. They give you all kinds of resources and you kind of just walk through it. And so I signed up for that. And then we're like halfway through a build sprint. So I decided to take our simple idea and do it in the Startup School build sprint. And so that's what I'm currently working on. That's why I've been on Buble, and I'm going to take another look at Airtable because what Sean just shared is very, very, very insightful. So I will take another look at Airtable to see kind of how I can use that moving forward. But yeah, that's why I'm here tonight.
So what's this idea you are working on, and that you're are making some good progress on?
I'm making progress.
Well, tell us about the idea and how it kind of came about.
Okay, sure. So the company startup is preemptively named FamilyFund. It is a online crowdfunding and resource sharing platform for families. And so the idea is to have a mobile app or a web app, essentially. So there's nothing you have to download. It's really low maintenance. You're just basically sending and sharing links with your family to set up this community online. But the main goal is to connect families on things that they care about. I think during this pandemic, it's kind of shown us, like, unfortunately, we've had some people have passed and things like that, and we have to come together as a family to make sure arrangements are taken care of and all different kinds of things. But in this experience of 2020, we've also found out, like, we're kind of detached from one another, right? We don't know necessarily what's going on in everyone's life. Some of us have had kids. They're like 4 kids in. I still haven't met any of the kids. So we really need to reconnect in a deeper way. And so with the app, I want to highlight some areas of life like birthdays, anniversaries, goals they may have, and then events that might become upcoming. So if someone wants to throw a 60th birthday party, or someone wants to raise money to apply to several colleges or something like that, the family can come together on this platform. And so on your little page that you send the invite link for to your family, it'll have your 4 main goals that you have going on in your life right now, so people can see your family members can see how they can help and what's going on with you. And that's just a connecting point.
Okay, so that sounds good. So tell that when you and I were talking, we were talking about birthdays, and I got a real birthday coming up, and you're going to have a prototype ready so we can test out for my birthday.
We're working on it as possible. I think the startup sprint is focused. My goal for the startup sprint was focused on getting an MVP, which is the minimum viable product. So I have to focus, and I was talking with Vinko about this in the networking session, of trying to make sure I'm just building something that can show the process of what this web app will look like. So I don't have to think about the end product, even though I'm very, very focused on the end product. I need to kind of measure and build the framework for it first, build a prototype, and then be able to build off of that prototype. So,
yeah. So have you thought about the revenue model, how you would make money with this particular application?
Sure. So ultimately, I think it's transactional. I would be hosting payments. So if somebody wanted to give money, there would be a transaction fee attached with the funds transferred on the platform. So that is the model I'm currently in. I haven't had anyone say, like, have you tried to do this? I haven't had anyone really challenge that. But I do think that's the simplest model for the idea.
Okay, well, just transaction fee. So when my real birthday comes up, people can send me money, and you're going to take a percentage of that?
Yes. They're going to PayPal me. So I'm hoping to be a little bit further along the process by that time. But as I just said, like, there's so many, and I actually got this from networking today too. There's so many different things. I'm not trying to compete with Facebook. Facebook is its own entity, right? But I feel like this is something that can be improved within your communities and the different apps you're on, Instagram, whatever you're on, even if it's just a transactional app like Cash App or Zelle or Venmo. Like, these are things that can be added, right? So I think it's ultimately something that's connecting these services and building something for family.
Okay, yeah, and so that sounds really, really neat, and so so why don't you kind of give the audience so just briefly first, so what's your experience with this low code, no code thing. So you're using Buble. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Buble is actually it's still a learning curve. It allows you to do pretty much everything with no coding, but you still have to understand data flow, right? You have to understand connection points. And so it is more of a challenging learning curve than maybe some other ones that are out there. I know Quinn put up Adalo, which looks to be much simpler interface than Buble, but I liked the service package with Buble. So that's why I ended up choosing them when I did my first research. But yeah, I've done some things in the past. So I started web development. I mean, you are my father, so I've been on the internet since the internet was a thing. And I've been building websites most of my life. So with that, you've done the Artisteer platform, or it's a program software that you build websites with. And so that was a no-code thing. That was not even a design thing. It was just like pick the colors and pick the design you like, and it will come up with a gazillion permutations of this theme, right? And so different services like that. I've been on WordPress and seen that's a low no-code platform. And I've done a lot of development websites there. So I'm familiar with how it works. And I think that's kind of my competitive edge in this space right now, is like, I understand what it's going to take to build the apps. I was there when you all built the apps for your business, your first startup after you retired. So, you know, I understand what goes into the process. So that's what I'm relying on right now.
Yes, and so like you mentioned, Artisteer, that same company, they got a new product out called Nice Page, and so that's a no code website builder, drag and drop, like Vinko was talking about. That you have these components you just drag onto the screen. So, and I think that's a pretty neat application as well. Yeah. So your day. Tell us about your day job, and is there anything you want to share about what your profession is in marketing, and how that might be able to help some startups, grow their business?
Yeah, so my day job for the last 5 years, I've actually been in remote work. So I've been working from my home for 5 years. So the pandemic didn't really change too much. It was just nowhere to go on the weekends. So I work for a company, small business called Fan Interactive Marketing. We have about 25 employees now, and we do online marketing for sports and entertainment companies. So that's arenas, that's NFL, MLS, NBA, all types of teams. My client is actually a casino, and we're actually really delving into the casino space. And I think we actually signed MGM a week ago or so. So like we're definitely growing. But what we realized after last year in the pandemic and live events shutting down is that how much of a critical aspect of business online communication is. And so while we ended up, we actually had a clause in our client contracts that said if there's a pandemic, you can cancel our service. So we lost some customers initially, but on the back end, everyone came back on because they still needed to get out and communicate. And none of them had been doing direct mail, like get a magazine in the mail or anything like that. So we were their line of choice. And, obviously they couldn't afford to hire people. So the agency route was actually the best route. And so we ended up having a record year last year by the end of it, and on track to have a record year this year. But when we're starting, I think what is important about our company is that we're critical communications, right? We're critical advertising. We do advertising, we do CRM management. So that was a neat presentation to see from that aspect that Sean shared at Airtable. Because we do database management all the time. We handle a lot of data. I think I send out, personally with my main client, we send out 64 million emails. And that's like, 64 million emails last year. So, there's a lot of things going on. Our company has done over 1 billion emails. So if you just think about how many inboxes that is, that's very significant. So I think making sure we understand the critical aspects of business is like we're always going to have to communicate. We're always going to have email. We're always going to need some kind of online marketing. So our company's just held on. So.
Yeah, but so like you got any marketing turn that into some marketing tips for the founders and using email marketing to kind of grow their businesses. You got any ideas that you might want that you can share?
Yeah, I think the neatest thing has been seeing how MailChimp has grown over these years, right? And so now you can get on MailChimp and do all of this automated things for free. And so I think, I'd encourage you all to use, even if you start anywhere, start there. And because it'll show you the different options that they have, will show you how you can make things personal. You can put someone's name in the subject line. But the basis of all of these things is getting the data, right? So if we don't know who our customers are and what their email is, where they live at, then you don't really know how to market to them. And so from the beginning of your business, when you're going out and getting, so in startup school, they have you track your progress by how many customers you talk to, how many potential customers you talk to. And so if you aren't collecting your customer data at the beginning and tracking and keeping track of all of these things, you're losing out on opportunities. So every person you talk to when you're starting your startup, whether you're connecting or you're having business meetings or anything like that, any interest, keep those contacts, keep their email in Airtable, wherever you want to keep it, upload it to MailChimp, but make sure you're keeping track of that because that's the base of your business.
Yeah, see, like in MailChimp is what you get 2,000 emails for 2,000 contacts for free, and you can send as many emails as you. I'm trying to think. So, but I don't remember exactly how it works. I think there's a limit on how many emails you can send a day, so I know you can have 2,000 contacts, but does that also mean you can only I don't know what the limit is on how many emails you can send a day.
Well, I have to go back in. I'm pretty sure it's 5,000 contacts now, so you can have up to 5,000.
Okay.
I still am on it doing some like organizational work here in DC, but yeah, it's plenty of opportunity to kind of see the different things you can do in MailChimp, and then when you hire someone like us, we can make all those things happen very quickly and very easily. So. And if you've seen any of, like, if you all go to concerts or if you are by sports teams and you see the emails that they send out, there's a lot of cool things that can happen in email. I can have, we send out, I think one of my favorite email clients that we have is Barclays. So the Brooklyn Nets, they just send out these amazing emails and they'll have like, the game's tonight, here's the weather, here's what you should wear, here's how long it's going to take you to commute from your house. How do they know that? Like there's so many things that you can do when you actually have the data for your customers.
Yes. Okay. That's so. So have in all the companies you work with in the past with this email marketing, have you noticed them using that to advertise products for sale or events for sale where you can make money? You make money for the customers by sending out the emails?
Yeah, so that's one of the things we have enjoyed this year. I think we had a breakthrough with one of our clients, a gambling client, and we found out that we would send out the emails, which is online gaming, and the states have now decided to do online gaming, and so it's online gaming. But we found out that by sending out a certain type of email, that the return on the email was something astronomical, was like $8 an email or something like that. And so when you find out like these breakthroughs that our work is actually bringing in revenue, it's really exciting. And then we start looking at other clients. Well, how can we track this with other clients? And looking again, scrubbing through that data to see what we can find out.
All right, fantastic. I heard you say data so many times it's pretty exciting. Yeah, so we got just about 3 minutes left. I wanted to, if the audience, anybody in the audience have any questions, yeah, so let's see here. What's been pretty interesting about tonight, we learned a lot of low-code, no-code type information, and even how you can use it to prototype your MVP or even to do your back office stuff. And I think that's can be a breakthrough for people in the audience there. But I think one other key takeaway I would take from tonight is that the importance of the networking and how you all are making connections just through this platform and so, and I will reiterate again, this platform that we're using and the networking piece, that is actually the differentiator for this particular platform. You have any follow-up stuff?
Yeah, so we have one question from Jonathan Kretz who says, what are some good strategies on personalization on mass reach outs?
Yeah, it depends on the medium. So email, there's some tools that you can use. I was just introduced to one recently that I used to email all of my governmental representation all the way up to the former President Trump. And so it's called GMass, but you can personalize several things in the email. So it takes a Google spreadsheet and puts it into your Gmail. So it looks like it comes personally from me, even though I'm using this service, it still comes personally out of my email. And so that was very effective because I got several responses for the information that I needed. It's also, MailChimp, there's a lot of personalization things that they've added in there. There are some languages you can learn to do personalization. I think one, if you're doing products and goods, like if you're selling something online, then you can use Shopify has this language called Liquid that can personalize different things in your database. So as long as you have the data and it's clean data, you should be good to go on several different mediums.
So, and then Sean is giving a bartering trade, saying Technica needs marketing. So he wants to trade marketing for development. So I'll let y'all hash that out off camera.
Get to me in another week and I might be there. If I haven't made some significant progress with my web app, I might be there. But I'm going to try to at least get the UX UI done. Then I'll come see you, Sean.
Yes. So we want to thank everyone for joining us tonight, and definitely want to thank Vinko, Sean, and you, Nathalie, for participating. And I think the audience really appreciate the information you all are sharing. And that's what Startup on the Blocks is all about. We want to connect you with the resources you need to grow your startup. With all that money that's been set aside for Black and Brown founders, it's just unbelievable, approaching $4 billion. And so, yeah, let's realize that we shouldn't pass up on this opportunity. So we'll have some more great guests next week. We look forward to seeing you all. Follow us on Facebook, and we appreciate you joining in tonight. Thanks a million. Bye-bye.